What's up, guys? This is Kephas.
World of Warcraft, a game of adventure, danger, and if you're visually impaired like me, the soul-crushing realization that you can't read a gosh darn thing in the game.
Seriously, what's with you people? I'm blind!
Yes, dear viewer, I was but a humble noob, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, eager to explore Azeroth, only to discover quest text that was so small it may as well have been written on ancient Titan runes for all the good it did me. Enter add-ons. Sweet, glorious, life-changing add-ons. But like any fool with access to unlimited power, I may have gone too far. My screen slowly morphed into a chaotic mess of flashing numbers, overlapping menus, and UI elements so large they required their own zip code. And what the heck is that? For years, I lived in this self-imposed madness until both myself and Blizzard started to get our acts together. I got better at managing my add-ons, and Blizzard started adding features that made the game actually playable.
Now we can finally play the game.
This one is for myself and the countless others who are thankful that we no longer have to look at screens that resemble the cockpit of a malfunctioning spaceship. Here are the top 10 features that have made World of Warcraft less of a nightmare to play. The Interact Key. A feature so simple yet so effective it makes you wonder why it took nearly 2 decades to get here.
Hell, it's about time.
For most players, right-clicking has always been kind of second nature, but for those of us who prefer a more streamlined approach, or God forbid play with the controller, having one button to rule them all is an absolute game changer. Looting? Check. Talking to NPCs? Check. Interacting with quest objectives? You bet your raid lock behind the Interact Key has got you covered. It's a small quality of life change for sure, but trust me, once you get used to it, going back to fumbling around with a joystick trying to mimic mouse precision feels like performing surgery with oven mitts. Speaking of buttons making life easier, let's talk about action targeting, aka what if tab targeting didn't make you want to throw your keyboard into the sea? For melee players, action targeting is a godsend. For controller players, it's nothing short of divine intervention. Instead of clicking or frantically cycling through targets like a panicked goblin trying to defuse a bomb, you just look at the enemy, press a button, and boom, instant engagement. It makes combat feel smoother, faster, and far more natural. Sure, sometimes it locks onto things you didn't mean to fight, but hey, that just adds to the adventure, right? If there's one thing that the War Within has shown me, it's that I like having solo content in WoW. And yeah, I know, WoW is an MMO. Why would you want to play it alone? I get it. MMOs are meant to be social. But here's the thing. Solo content for people who want to play solo is better than group content for people who don't want to be social.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really like any of you.
And let's be honest, some nights you just don't feel like dealing with the DPS who refuse to not stand in the fire or that tank who rage quits after a single wipe. Follower dungeons are great because they let you experience the story without needing to queue up with randoms, and delves give solo players an actual progression path where the only person you can blame for failure is yourself. Or Blizzard because they nerfed Tank Brand so far into the ground that he's been digging his way out of Deep Home ever since.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Either way, sometimes it's just preferable than having to contend with the nightmare that is pugs. Classic WoW has Questy, modern WoW has waypoints and quest outlines. And sure, quest tracking in video games often gets criticized for being immersion breaking. I think that's a fair criticism. But you want to know what else breaks immersion? Alt-tabbing to Wowhead after spending the better part of an hour running up and down the Barrens like a lost puppy wondering where the hell Mankirk's wife is.
It's not his fault he can't read.
There's a reason why Questy is one of the most downloaded add-ons in Classic WoW. And as a visually impaired player, even with that add-on, it's still kind of tough. Without on-screen waypoints and yellow outlines around things I'm supposed to click on, sometimes playing classic WoW kind of feels like I'm driving cross-country with no GPS, while blindfolded. It's honestly one of the things that I do appreciate in modern WoW, so here's to Blizzard for finally making Where the F Do I Go a question of the past. GTFO. The add-on that exists because we, as a species, refuse to learn.
Get out of the fire, get out of the fire, you died.
Every raid group has that guy. You know the one who somehow always manages to stand in the fire. And if you're sitting there thinking, you know, I don't know anyone like that, I've got some unfortunate news for you, friend. It's you. GTFO exists to make sure you can't get away with it anymore. It screams at you, it vibrates your controller, it does everything short of filing a police report on your behalf, and honestly, we deserve it. Because standing in bad is the MMO equivalent of touching a hot stove over and over again while saying, huh, wonder why it hurts. And for those who are too stubborn to use an add-on like GTFO, 11.1's got you covered. Because Blizzard has finally given us no excuse with the recent update to ground effects. WoW has finally caught up with the rest of the MMO genre by adding actual, visible, intuitive indicators for don't stand here mechanics. Gone are the days of staring at a floor that looks like a Warhol painting dipped in radioactive waste while trying to figure out if that red swirl is safe or if that green puddle is just decorative. Now, there are big glowing circles that even my caveman brain understands. Anytime I talk about GSE, there are always going to be those people that say, just play the game properly. And to those people I say,
go puck yourself.
As someone who only has one functioning eye, GSE is accessibility at its finest, an add-on that lets you consolidate complex rotations into fewer buttons while still requiring you to play the game yourself. It is an absolute lifesaver when you're trying to manage rotations, buffs, debuffs, positioning, mechanics, inflation, toddlers, and seasonal allergies all at the same time. Do I get the occasional elitist telling me my way of playing is wrong? Absolutely. Do I care? Absolutely not. My old nemesis, the default UI. The only reason I was able to continue playing WoW for years was custom UI add-ons. Being able to change the font, adjust the scale, and move every single piece of information on my screen made WoW the most accessible game I've ever played. And sure, my UI used to be an absolute mess, but it was my mess, gosh darn it. And things have gotten a whole lot better since then. Not only for my UI, but for the game as a whole. Blizzard's new edit mode is a massive step in the right direction, finally bringing in built-in customization to the game, and it only seems to be getting better. I've mentioned playing with the controller a few times now, and for good reason, because for me, it changed everything. Long before Blizzard ever thought about official controller support, I spent months fumbling around with button mapping software like an absolute madman. I played for years on the jankiest, most convoluted setup you've ever seen, and yet it worked.
It just works.
Then one day came the add-on of my dreams, Console Port, an add-on that refined controller support so well that honestly, it's criminal the creator hasn't been hired by Blizzard yet. The game plays so smoothly on a controller that many people are wondering, why isn't WoW on Xbox yet? Look, I know this is a cheesy answer, but I'm gonna be real. The best feature WoW has ever had are other players, particularly those willing to help. Whether it was the friend who spent weeks flying around Outland helping me find netherwing eggs, the raid team that let me focus on DPS while they handled those complex mechanics that I couldn't see, or that random dude in Dawnbreaker who saved me from complete and utter motion sickness based despair by suggesting switching over to steady flight. The WoW community is not just a bunch of elitist jerks. I've played this game for nearly 20 years, and if there's one thing I know for certain, it's this. Nothing has made the game more accessible than people willing to lend a hand. And there you have it, the top 10 features that made WoW less of a nightmare to play, at least for me. So, did I miss any? Let me know in the comments. I had a lot of fun with this one, so I hope you enjoyed it. But with all that being said, stay safe, don't stand in the fire, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is Kephas. Until next time.